This is the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Eagles and all the news around the NFL. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by the Philadelphia Protestant Home, Rob's Automotive and Collision, SEPTA, The Capitol Grill, Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, Ventresca's Custom Clothing, Chickies and Pete's, Begley, Carlin, and Mandio Law Firm, Hand and Stone Spa, Penworth Financial Services, BCWSA, and CJ's Tire and Automotive. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Great to be with you. We are at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington, and Bobby, the Eagles' undefeated season continues.
They are on their way, Merrill. And I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to think about where I'm going to be on the parade route, you know, with what the best vantage point is. Because I don't see a lot of teams that are on their schedule that they're not capable of beating.
You know, that is probably the most ridiculous thing you have said.
Merrill, you got to tell me.
You've got to tell me what things.
No, you have to tell me who on that schedule is going to beat them.
It's not who's on that schedule. It's you can beat yourself if you start talking about the Super Bowl in October. And I don't think they are. I think Nick keeps them pretty much on the ground floor. I think that's a mistake. I really do.
Yeah. Well, just the same, I want to make sure that I have the right place to set up with my camera, you know, and get some of those photos and you know, because that's going to be well, all right. Go ahead.
Right. We have one of my favorite old Eagles, not old age-wise so much, but former Eagles with us tonight. Former Eagles linebacker, played in the Buddy Ryan days, Mike Reichenbach. Mike, nice to have you with us.
Merrill, good to be here. Thank you.
Did you hear all of that stuff from him already about being on the parade route?
You get used to that because it's the Philly tradition. As soon as they get a few wins, it's just they're going to the Super Bowl.
You know, I'm thinking myself. Last week I had to prepare for the Arizona game. And I would be, you know, not last week, of course, it was the Dallas game, but the game prior to Dallas was Arizona. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at Arizona, and last year, Arizona got off to a 7-0 start, and then proceeded to lose 6 of their last 10 games, and then got wiped out in the first round of the playoffs. That's how fragile this whole thing is.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the biggest thing now is keeping the locker room focused. That's difficult, especially as you're having success. There's a lot of things that come with that. And then there's also staying healthy. And one injury can change everything right now.
No question. And but I do have to point this out, Mike. I told Merrill that this team would probably go 8-0 to start the season. I said,
no, he didn't.
And that could, I said it could be 10-0. I said they had a lot of talent, and I'm looking at the schedule.
He never said that.
And now
I was going to say, good pick.
Now I'm thinking it could be 12-0. I mean, when I look at the,
I think he started saying that tonight. During the season,
we could go back through our archives.
He said that this team does not have the it factor, whatever that is.
No, that was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years.
That was during the pandemic.
Let me
We're
tell you
overlapping
something.
years.
When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that was 2018 for the game, but the 2017 season, nobody thought they were going anyplace.
No, that's
right. And that evolved as the season went on with a second-year quarterback, and Carson Wentz kept growing and playing to the point where when he went down in Los Angeles, at that point, he was the likely MVP for the league.
Yeah, playing very well. And, but you think at that point the season's over.
You did.
You know, to have a veteran backup like Nick Foles to step in, it's more of bringing the team together, playing a role within the scheme of what they were doing that made them successful. It made other players step up, and that sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes you get guys that blossom. I just looking at the Eagles this year, they're so much of a better football team because they're more sound in every position. They've improved at every position, which make them a better team.
You know, I got something here.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
He's talking about the 2016 or the 2017 team. Go back to 2004 when T.O. came in here. A.J. Brown he's brought that same presence that T.O. brought, and he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he brings the
he's-
confidence to the game. He plays with
It's
confidence.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
They would not be 6-0 without him.
Yeah, he definitely, he's strong. He doesn't, they can't cover him man to man.
He's
I
a
mean,
grinder.
yeah.
You know, I mean, he will grind
Yards
the
after
whole
the
game
catch, yeah.
to get a win, and I mean, that's kind of the way
he
they
he
are.
is a great player. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So is Devontae Smith. I mean, a different kind of receiver, but he toe taps like nobody I've ever seen, where he can make catches near the sideline and finds a way to get those toes in.
Yeah, very talented. When you can mix talent with hard work, you know, that kind of guy that comes every day, brings his lunch pail and goes to work, that's the kind of leadership you need.
But getting back to 2017, the interesting thing was Wentz goes out, and most of us said there goes the season, and Nick comes in and is only so-so for a couple of weeks. And actually, they put him in for one more quarter against Dallas in the meaningful last regular season game. And somebody said to Doug, going into the playoffs, are you thinking at all of starting Nate Sudfeld? That's what they said. And then Doug just looked at them. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but they only scored 13 points against Atlanta, right? I mean, that was huge. I mean, that win was, you know.
Well, that win was so close to being a loss if Julio Jones
it
doesn't let go of the football on the sideline.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
right.
I mean, that could have been it
But-
then and there. But then Nick picked the Minnesota game to have the greatest game of his life.
Yeah, and it's building a scheme around the quarterback. You know,
Yeah.
Nick Foles wasn't a guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl. But if you put the scheme around him, he's not going to make the mistakes. You know, you have to put him in a position for success. You know, there's guys I remember back through the years, a quarterback would do well within a scheme, like let's say the Steelers, are a good running football team. Quarterback might look good because they have a really good running game, which sets up the play action pass, sets up everything else. But then you take him out of that scheme and put him into another team scheme, and he has to carry you. He's not that guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the guy that gets you over the. He's just, if you build the offense around him, he's going to be successful.
How many more chances did he get to be the starter, and it just didn't work out?
Right, exactly.
There were some injuries.
Well, he
in
went
that,
to Jacksonville, and he went to
Yeah.
he
not
made
great
three-
teams. Yeah.
No.
No,
And
but
did
that
he go to the Bears?
Speaks to what Mike was saying.
Yeah, that's if you don't put talent around him, he's not going to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah,
That's a great way. I mean, and so what you're saying to draw that parallel to 2017 is we'll know if they're really good because Gardner Minshew will take over,
No,
right?
no, I'm not saying that
take
at all.
him-
No, what I'm actually saying is the 17 team was up, down, and then took off at the end when they had to. And Doug did a great job. Doug's a
Yeah,
terrific
that's where your
coach.
coaching comes into play.
It does.
It really does. That's where you earn your money as a coach.
Now, you started to play. Were you at the end of Vermeil at all, or just
No, I came in and Marion Campbell
Marion
was the head
Campbell's
coach. Yeah.
brief tenure?
Yeah, just at the end of when Vermeil had just left and Marion had taken over. My rookie year, he was the head coach, and then my second year was the last year. He got fired
Yeah.
prior to the end of the season, and Fred Bruni was the actual interim head coach.
That's right. Won one game
Yeah, one game.
in Minnesota.
That's right.
Percentage-wise, he's the
Yeah, that
winningest
was-
season
you
Eagles
think
coach
they would have hired
of
him
all
because of
time.
that.
100%.
So then of course Buddy Ryan era started.
What was that like?
It was
Tell
interesting.
me, Mike Reichenbach is our guest, by the way, former Eagles linebacker who still lives in the Philadelphia area, played college football at East Stroudsburg.
East Stroudsburg, yeah.
But
10
what-
minutes away, right?
Yeah, enough. I live 10 minutes away. It's a close drive. I
and
could
that
I'll
is
do the show
Chickies
every
and-
week.
Chickies and Pizza in Warrington.
Yeah.
But anyhow, tell me, what was your first impression of Buddy Ryan?
Well, Buddy Ryan had called me in. He looked at film and he called me in in the beginning of the season. He said, "You're going to be our signal caller." He said, "So you have to learn this defense." He said, "If you can't learn this defense, I'll find somebody else." So he said to me, he handed me a game plan that was about 4 inches thick. and he said, here's a video, here's a film. He said, go home and learn these calls. He said, if you can do this, you're going to be the guy.
Overnight?
Yeah, overnight. So I come in the next day, and I go through them because I could remember those things, and I just banged them. You know, what's this? 46 coverage, AFC 40. So I answered them all, and I thought, wow, I passed. He said, good job. He goes, here's another game plan. Here's a video. I'll see you tomorrow. He did this for 2 weeks. This was the off season. And so he says to me at the end of the 2 weeks, he goes, okay, you're going to be the guy. He goes, but listen, he goes, I'm going to try and kill these guys. I'm going to work them till they drop. He says, He said, so I can't have you drop if you're going to be one of the leaders. He said, so you better come in the best shape of your life. He said, because if I can't change my people, I will change my people. That's what he said to us. He was going to change the culture. And so he went about doing that. So from first day.
Boy, I remember his camps.
Oh, they were brutal. And he actually did that. He followed through. He would run us. I mean, we started practice with 2 50-yard ladders, out 5'10", out back, all the way. That was just the beginning. Then we would hit and we would run again and then run at the end. And whoever went down, he cut them.
Have you ever been to a recent Eagles training camp?
Yeah, I've been in, over the years I've been there. I do ask them, when do they run and when do they hit?
They don't hit. They don't tackle to the ground.
Well, and the difference is, and it is, we were too far the one way. We were really over the top.
But he wasn't any worse than Vermeil, and we love Dick Vermeil.
Right, but we hit every day.
So
we never
Dick.
went out in shorts. We ran continually. So, it was a different mindset. We were too far that way. They've kind of gone too far the other way because in camp, the one thing you would get, there's conditioning, but there's also hitting shape. Like you would get bruises on top of bruises, so you would just be, you were ready to hit once the season came. Even the hard hits to your head, you would kind of get accustomed to those things. But you see that now that they come into the season and are almost working through that hitting process.
But I have to tell you this though. Here's how I was misled. So I grew up watching Dick Vermeil's reenactment of the Baton Death March, and then watched the little stuff that Marion did, and then Buddy, who was so over the top. So now I go to training camp now Doug Peterson's camps weren't brutal at all. They were backed off, but nothing like what we've seen in the last couple of years since Nick Sirianni came in. And I'm watching these camps where there is virtually no all-out hitting. Mm-hmm. There's shorts at least half the time, and there is no tackling to the ground, none. And I'm not talking about, maybe 2 tackles in a whole training camp. And then you get into the preseason games, and Jalen Hurts, who I felt needed a lot of work in the preseason, had 10 snaps. That's it, 10 snaps in the whole preseason, and hardly any of the regulars played at all. The only regulars that played were people like Jordan Davis, because he's a rookie, so he got his share of snaps. But for the most part, the regulars don't play. And you go into the season, and I'm thinking, this team is not ready. Now, on the other hand, I'm watching every week. I turn on HBO, and I watch Hard Knocks. And Hard Knocks is the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
With their crazy coach.
Yeah.
And I'm watching Hard Knocks, and every week they are killing each other. And they come out and they say, listen, guys, this is what we're doing to make you ready. You're going to be ready to go to war. We're going to do what we have to do. And I'm thinking, this team could end up losing to the Lions in the opening game of the season because they're ready and this team isn't. Well, here we sit in the middle of October, and the Eagles have yet to lose, and the Detroit Lions are 1-4. So what does that tell me?
Well, and sometimes, like even Buddy, if you remember, we had that camp when we started out. I think we were 1-4. I think we started out 1-4 because we were still learning the defense. So, again, there's a culture change that has to take place. I think you have to bring in a certain type of player. So I think what the Lions coach is trying to do is change the culture, bring in players that are old school type of mentality, because some of the guys won't take to that. You're limited because of the new rules around hitting and things like that. They kind of hold you accountable for those things. So it's tougher. But again, I think the Lions are an improved football team from what they were prior to this coach coming.
Well, I hope this week, because they're in Dallas.
Oh, that's right. They could get some help there.
I don't know. I don't know. They're just not winning. I thought they would at least be better.
Well, I think Goff, he's struggling. He's another quarterback that you would think would progress. I don't see much progression as far as his talent level.
He was drafted number 1 and Carson Wentz number 2.
Yeah, and I just think that is hurting the team somewhat.
Yeah. Hey, and it's not just the Eagles that do these kind of lightweight type of things. And if you look around the league, and we talked a little bit about this, some real sloppy football. The Eagles what they've been ahead by 17 or more points in every game.
Yeah.
And only 2 of those teams have really, well, maybe 3 have closed the gap, but they were never seriously threatened, right? I mean, a few teams. So what does that tell you? I mean, it tells you definitely that they're good, and that's all you need, in the NFC.
Well, it tells you that, number one, staying healthy and bringing 53 guys who can still walk and talk
that's a good point.
into the season has become of tantamount importance.
Yeah, it's critical. I mean, because the second team is the talent level, because you've expanded now. Because back when we played, there was 28 teams, 48 guys per team, so you had your second team was as good as your first. Now you've expanded, so your second teams are now starting somewhere, so you've diluted the talent somewhat.
It's amazing. All right, Mike Reichenbach is our guest, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we know Saturdays in the fall are special. Why? College football. And we have you covered with food and drink specials and the best in-game experience to watch your team or the college football game of the week. Come watch Penn State, Temple, Villanova, Notre Dame, Texas, Michigan, Georgia, and more. College football Saturdays are special at Chickies and Pete's.
Former Philly Tommy Green, and here's the pitch. More people are online every day to check and pay their bills. Now you can have your BCWSA utility bill delivered electronically. Enrollment couldn't be easier. Just go to bcwsa.net or call 800-222-2068. With electronic billing, you have control to see your bills whenever you want and enjoy the convenience of viewing and printing up to 13 months of your previous bills. Best of all, the service is free. Sign up for e-billing at bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
You never expect to lose a child. My daughter, Sarah Mitchell, was killed while serving her country during Navy maneuvers in the Red Sea. So many people were supportive, but Frank just showed up on our doorstep right after. He came months after, he came years after. It's been 4 years, and Frank still keeps in touch with us. He's just a normal guy that literally takes care of his community, and that's important.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Philadelphia Protestant Home is a premier senior living community that offers affordable, quality, independent living, personal care, skilled nursing, and rehabilitation. PPH is located on a beautiful, serene campus within minutes of Bucks County and features a variety of on-site amenities for active lifestyles. Bowling alley, computer learning center, greenhouse, bank, market, and coming soon, a pharmacy. Call now to schedule a tour, 215-697-8000, or visit us on the web at pphfamily.org. At PPH, we're family.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
Don't hang out alone in the man cave this football season. Hang out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 Miller Lights, Jameson specials, and awesome game day prizes during all Sunday and Monday football games. Stop in before, during, or after the game to see your favorite entertainers and your chance to win an awesome game day prize. The most epic game day experience is at Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. where champions play. Open daily from noon till 2 a.m.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, for an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And back we are here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington. Merrill and Bobby Grotz and Mike Reichenbach, who Buddy Ryan used to call Rockenbach.
Yeah.
Right?
Rockenbach. He called me a lot of things. Some of you can't say on the radio. Some of you can't say on the air.
but you know what? Many games he used to start Byron Evans, and he'd pull him. He'd get disgusted with him, and he'd bring you back in.
Yeah, he was one of the draft picks. He was one of those guys. See the free agents. We just keep hanging around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was there was a lot of talent. We had a lot of talent on that team. It just was it was a difficult defense to pick up. You had to study. We just didn't have the level. The guys, we had the talent, but they didn't study. So I'd come to the sidelines and I'd say, buddy, they're not studying. They're looking to me every play because you have to change everything on the field. Every call was made on the field. So if they shift it, because Joe Gibbs was the Redskins, he saw what we were doing, so he would shift his offenses around in motion. That we would change the defense right away. So everybody would look at me and say, what's the call? And I'd have to scream it and try to get it to him. I'd come over to the side and say, buddy, they're not studying. He goes, that's why I have you out there.
How about that? How did a kid from East Stroudsburg make it to the NFL?
Well, I was probably not. I wasn't coming out of high school. I wasn't a highly recruited player. I started to come into my own my senior year. I was about 195 pounds. I was a defensive end. Nobody really recruited me. Stroudsburg gave me an opportunity because they were local. I'm from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And he said he wants to make me a middle linebacker. So I went out and tried the first scrimmage, and I go, I can't play this position. Put me back at end. He goes, just stay with it. My coach was Denny Dowds at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I just kept working at it, and by my senior year, I just kept lifting and working hard. And by my senior year, I was made all first-team All-American, which gave me an opportunity and got me recognized. And so at least I was on the radar. Wasn't at the level because you played at East Stroudsburg to get drafted. So I was invited, about 4 or 5, 6 teams invited me to be a free agent, and the Eagles were one of them. So, and just came into camp. I think at that time they brought 30 linebackers to camp for 7 positions.
Wow.
And so I got down to I was the last rookie left at that time. It was Jerry Robinson was there, and Anthony Griggs, and Joel Williams, and Reggie Wilkes, and really talented group of players.
High draft picks.
Yeah, all high draft picks. And here was this guy from East Stroudsburg. And so, and it was just getting up every day and just going to work. I mean, that's pretty much what I did, my whole life. I was never the most talented, fastest guy. You just worked hard.
And you're not saying it, but I know those guys like to have fun. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the studying type of thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard to get. I mean, film, that's the other thing. I mean, I don't know if it's changed now what it was, but it was pretty brutal. I mean, back then we would come in and on Mondays, and whether you won or lost, you watched the film, you got yelled at. Didn't matter. And so they graded you out, and you got your grade. But you were always aware that if you didn't make they'd said to you, if you didn't make tackles, you're not going to be here. They would every week you would hear that. They'd say that name on that locker is in Velcro, so we could pull yours off, put somebody else on. So there was always that. Because the second team was good. I mean, you had guys behind you that were looking to take your job. That's why you didn't come off the field.
Were you primarily a special teamer then?
I came in as a special teamer. Jerry Robinson was the starter, but he started to have a shoulder problem. And so by mid-season, I was playing half the games because Jerry would come out because he would hurt his shoulder. And then I became friends with Jerry, and we hung out a little bit together. And so I had a bonus in my contract that if I got one start, I would make extra money. So I would say to Jerry, can't you just sit down and not start one game? So the last game we played the Redskins, John Riggins and all those guys at the vet. And so Marion Campbell comes out and he goes over. My locker was across from Jerry Robinson. He says, Jerry, do you think you're going to be able to go? And he goes, I don't think I can go. My shoulder's hurting pretty bad. Jerry looked up at me and winked because I got my bonus.
Wow.
So that was my first start. And then that's when Jerry wanted to get out of Philly and go back to L.A. with the Raiders.
Which is what he did.
And so then they moved me right into the starting position. So.
And he was a great natural talent.
Oh,
he was
phenomenal.
the first 3-time All-American at UCLA.
Yeah, phenomenal talent. I mean, he was more of an outside linebacker. They moved him to inside because he was just that great of an athlete. But he didn't like headbutting guards all day because we were in a 34 defense.
Imagine.
So he would sidestep the guard and then come in behind him and still make the play. That's how good he was.
So then Marion Campbell was parted ways.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a crazy end of the season because what happened was we woke up 2 weeks before the end of the season, and there was a story by the late Frank Dolson that Norman Brayman, that the Eagles had already offered the job, and Marion was still there. They had already offered the job for next season to David Shula, the son of Don. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. I remember that.
All right. What do you remember about it?
Well, we didn't know because, again, anytime there's a coaching change, there's a whole philosophy change coming through. You knew what was going to, and I was surprised because Marion was a defensive kind of coach. He was from, I guess, down south. He was very laid back, not very intense. That was the one thing I noticed about him. So I just think that there was they needed to more. We had almost settled into a 500 football team. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
There was just we found ways to lose. I mean, we had we had talent, but when losing becomes a habit, we just didn't have that winning mentality, and that was, I think, they were looking for a change.
And Marion was a nice man.
Oh, very nice guy. He was very. I mean, even back then, you talk about the hard training camps. Well, I worked out hard. I mean, I ran nonstop coming into camp, lifting, 3 times a day I was working out. And so when I came into camp, I was ready to go. And we come into camp, and he said, we're going to run, after practice, we would run striders, 40-yard striders. I'm like, wait a second. No, this, it had to be harder than this, but it wasn't. It was very laid back, very laid back. And it was interesting because I always make fun of Herm Edwards because when Herm was a cornerback, Herm didn't like to hit a lot.
No.
So it was funny when he first got his head coaching job in college, I saw an interview, and he goes, we're going to be physical. We're going to hit. And I'm going, wait a second. I don't remember that. I don't remember that side of him.
What he liked to do was pick up a loose football against the New York Giants.
Yeah, he did do that.
And create the first miracle of the Meadowlands.
Yeah, that was a great
In
play.
fact, whenever I talk to Herman, I say to you, Herman, it's me, the one who made you famous.
That was a great play. I mean, he was a good player. He just was near the end of his career, trying to maintain longevity there. You get the longevity time.
The November 19th, 1978.
Yeah, that was the
game. That was the date.
Yeah.
That was the date.
And it was who was the quarterback for the Giants?
Joe Pisarcik.
Joe Pisarcik, who came to Philly, came through.
Yep, and the ball went off the hip of Larry Zonka.
He never lived that down.
No, I'm sure.
He hated that, and because he just never lived that play down.
Yeah, and Joe is a great guy.
Oh yeah, very nice guy. I got to be friendly with him. Got to play with a bunch of great guys. I mean, that was great about playing in Philly. I could play in front of my family. It was local.
Amazing. And then Marion leaves because he was so angry that that his replacement was already announced, and he said, "I'm not doing the last games." They put an assistant coach, Fred Bruni, for the one game that you guys won against the Vikings.
Yep, and that was it. And then it was kind of up in the air, and they were interviewing back and forth, and then it was announced that Buddy was coming in.
Well, you might, Bobby. I don't know if you remember who they were going to hire. Do you?
Well, did you mention it?
No.
David Shula?
No.
Oh. No, that was
David Shula wanted a lot of guarantees.
Yeah,
and finally Norman Brayman was not giving them, and he was admonished, I think, by Don Shula for leading his son on. And the guy they went after was the former coach of the Stars, Jim Mora.
Oh, that's right.
And they were so close to signing Jim Mora, and something went wrong in the negotiations. I think he wanted a certain car deal, and they refused to give it to him. But that broke down, and then they brought in Buddy Ryan, who had just been lifted upon the shoulders of the Chicago Bears,
Yeah.
carried off the field while Mike Ditka, the head coach, walked off.
Yeah, there was a lot of adversity there that I know, but within that the coaching staff, there was a lot of animosity.
Do you remember how Buddy came in? I mean, he was insulting everybody. Former first-round draft pick Michael Haddix. He said he looks like a leftover
a reject
from the USFL. Yeah. He looks like a guard.
Yeah, he had a way of trying to motivate people. It wasn't very good.
That didn't do well.
No, he was. He pretty much had a name for everybody and how they played, he just was.
Well, as I said, you were Reichenbach.
Yeah, it was. It was an interesting. He called most guys by their numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he couldn't remember most of the
names.
We got to take a break.
We have to got to take a break. We'll be back with Mike Reichenbach right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dine in for these amazing fall specials. Wednesday is crab night. 2 pounds of snow crab legs, $49.99. Or mix it up with 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays are for the birds. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, you get to save on wings at Chicky and Pete's on Thursday. Plus, limited time fall specials, including bomb pork belly tacos and the garlic truffle burger. Wash it down with our pear elderflower mule or apple cider old fashioned. Chickies and Pete's.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
You never expect to lose a child. My daughter Sarah Mitchell was killed while serving her country during Navy maneuvers in the Red Sea. So many people were supportive, but Frank just showed up on our doorstep. Right after, he came months after, he came years after. It's been 4 years, and Frank still keeps in touch with us. He's just a normal guy that literally takes care of his community, and that's important.
Enjoy a world of Italian wine and cuisine in nearby Philadelphia at Grand Cafe L'Aquila. This Italian landmark cafe offers a wide variety of Italian options for both lunch and dinner, and before you leave, try their award-winning gelatos. Offering an online market for your favorite meats, cheeses, coffee, and much more, it's Grand Cafe L'Aquila website at grandcafel'Aquila.com. Call them today at 215-568-5600. That's 215-568-5600. Or visit them at their flagship location at 1716 Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. The world of Italian cuisine is only a 30-minute drive away at Grand Cafe L'Aquila.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
The life of a Philly sports fan is a wild ride. Some years we fly high.
Some years we don't. What never changes year after year is how we get to the game. Shoulder to shoulder with our fellow fans on SEPTA. On the way to the tailgate, coin toss, and kickoff, the Broad Street line takes us from home to home field, and this season home free thanks to Bet Parks. Plan your trip to the game and learn more about free rides home. Sponsored by Bet Parks at iSEPTAPhilly.com.
Don't hang out alone in the man cave this football season. Hang out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 Miller Lights, Jameson specials, and awesome game day prizes during all Sunday and Monday football games. Stop in before, during, or after the game to see your favorite entertainers and your chance to win an awesome game day prize. The most epic game day experience is at Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, where champions play. Open daily from noon till 2 a.m.
When an Eagles player gets hurt, the team takes care of him. When you get hurt, the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will take care of you. They understand that a severe accident can be a life-altering event. You need a reliable teammate to fight for you. The attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will get you great results. And if there's no recovery, there's no fee. Contact them today at 215-750-0110 for a free consultation. 215-750-0110 for a reliable ally that's on your side.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And back we are at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington. Mike Reichenbach is our guest. Bobby, it is now time for this week's injury review, brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689, 215-806-3689. Bring us up to date.
We're going into the bye week here, obviously, with Lane Johnson had a concussion.
Yes.
And that's, they're hoping that won't be a problem when he comes back. Once you have a concussion, though, that could be, that could lead to another one, right? So, hopefully they take the proper measures, and Lane is all right, because we saw what happened when he left the game.
Sure.
Micah Parsons went nuts. Okay. The good news is Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, Jake Elliott, Boston Scott, all were back in the game and looked good. And looked good. Andre Dillard is back in uniform and looked pretty good. And, an injury we didn't mention was Chris Ermer. Wrenched his back, the producer for the show.
Yeah.
He's looking pretty good tonight.
He's still brought in the
he's
equipment.
Not 100%. He's playing hurt.
Yeah, but Chris always plays hurt.
Yeah.
And does well.
Yeah,
Okay.
but so, at the bye week, time to heal, those bumps and bruises.
It's a good time for the bye.
Yeah, and they look pretty healthy.
Mike, when you played, there was no bye.
No, we didn't get much of a bye. It was, matter of fact, Buddy had a theory that if we lost a game, we would go out in full pads on our Friday practices.
Wow.
So as the game was winding down, and if we were losing, you wouldn't even, players weren't even talking about the loss. They were going, we got to go out in full pads on Friday.
That's what I would be doing. Oh my God.
Wow.
So yeah, it was different. You had to, the weeks, it's a long season, and again, it's staying focused, staying healthy. The bye week is great for them right now. It came at a really good time, I think.
I think so, too. The only thing that worries me is the fact that they've got a rhythm going. They have won 6 straight games. They're 6-0. Do you really want to go cold for 2 weeks?
Well, it depends. That comes down to coaching. It's discipline. I look at, that's one thing about Dallas. I don't have a lot of. I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan. I just don't think he disciplines his players enough. I think you look at them and they're just not a disciplined team, and that's up to the coaching staff to keep them focused. Don't let them get too far away from the things that made them successful. And again, that's the hardest thing. But I think, they're professionals. They gotta. That's part of the game right now.
Speaking of coaches, you played for one of the greatest coaches of all time. You went from the Eagles, and the rest of your career was with the Miami Dolphins, and you played for Don Shula.
Yeah, Don Shula. Matter of fact, you talk about the undefeated season. He is so proud of that every time a team would get close,
Yeah.
he was praying that would never happen, because that's one thing that set him apart. I remember we were playing the Raiders, and we were big Raider fans. Everybody wanted to play in L.A. because it was Dal Davis and the Raider esteem. And so we were at the table, and there was a couple players, and we were all talking. Even Marino was there. We're all talking about, boy, wouldn't it be great to play for the Raiders? Wouldn't it be? And we didn't realize that Don Shula was standing behind us, and he just leans over. He goes, "The Raiders were never 16-0."
That's right. That's right. Well, let me tell you a funny story about that. Years later, after that, I did a TV series for NFL Films that was played on ESPN, and it was called Dream Season. And Steve Sable of NFL Films invented this show where teams of different eras would play against each other. It was a tournament. And they did amazing things, like the NFL Films artists actually changed uniform numbers.
Wow.
So if the Bears were in, the 85 Bears were in a game, and the only uniform they had was the uniform of Mike Tomczak or somebody.
Yeah.
They found a way to change his number to a number 9, so you thought you were watching Jim McMahon.
That's incredible.
And the whole thing boiled down to two teams. The last two teams left in the tournament were the famous Miami Dolphins, the perfect Miami Dolphins. I guess it was 17-0, counting the Super Bowl, and the Steel Curtain Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
And who wins? And it was all done by computer to see who would win this tournament. The Steelers win the tournament.
I would have bet the Steelers, yeah.
Steelers won the tournament. Well, Steve Sable got a call the next day from Don Shula, who was screaming into the phone.
You're kidding.
That his team never lost a game. How dare he make his team
I believe that.
a loser?
I believe
he
that.
He went nuts.
Yeah, I believe it. Don Shula was a great guy, but he was one of those guys that was involved in every aspect of the game. Like, we were doing special teams at one point, and the special teams coach was about blocking the punt. And he didn't feel the special teams coach was teaching it the right way. So he came over and actually went through. He got on the defensive line and attacked the punter and showed us how to take it off his foot. And I was concerned because he was getting up in years then.
Yeah.
But he was that way. He was involved in every
He actually
aspect of the
took
game.
it off his foot?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
I think the punters had to slow down.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope so.
If he wanted to keep his job, he had to slow down.
Special team. Hey, speaking of special teams.
Yes.
Yeah, every week, Merrill, another adventure.
Yeah, the special teams have not been special for the Eagles. But you're talking about a team that's 6-0, has done so many things right that maybe there's always something to work on, and that's what Nick Sirianni says. There's always something, some area where you can get better, and that seems to be the point right now for the Eagles. You've got to tighten up special teams, and they have time to do it.
Yeah, and it's a third of the game, but it's become less of an impact because of the kickoffs, and they've taken a lot of that out of the game. I mean, the athleticism is good. I mean, the speed kills. I mean, that's why everybody puts the fastest guy back there, because if he can outrun everybody, I mean, you just get a seam and he's gone.
But these mistakes these are not good mistakes.
Oh, right.
The punt returns
mistakes are good mistakes.
Yeah, but I mean, these could be really costly. I think they need. I was telling Merrill, I think the Eagles need a veteran special teams guy. Somebody who, remember the Chris Maragos type, or that type of guy.
Yeah, that's how they made their living.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing of it is though, it's hard.
I don't know
because
how you find it.
If you watch the game, it's different. We had lanes. We had to stay in them. I mean, we were told this is your job. Like, if you were coming down and hitting the wedge, so there was about 2,000, 3,000 pounds of beef you're running into, and they'd say this gap is your gap. If you're not there, you're going to be gone. You had to hit certain gaps within that wedge, and you had to do that job and hit that wedge. You had to stay in your lane because it was all about, you didn't want, even defense, you did not want the running backs going north and south. You wanted them going east and west.
Yeah.
So fill your gaps, force them to the sidelines, and then run them, that's what you did. I mean, you had to hit the wedge. You had to do all that stuff. You see now where guys run around and, take side. And once you do that, the speed of some of these guys, it's you're fast.
Well, the Eagles have a great little return man in Britton Covey, who was great at Utah. But most of the punts are not returnable. They're not punting it deep and giving him much cushion.
No.
They come down, And he's gambled a couple of times where he really should have just called for
a
fair
fair catch.
catches. But it's very tough today to get a really returnable punt. And as you said, most kickers kick off out of bounds, over the baseline.
Yeah, they've eliminated a lot of that, aspect. But once that, because the guys are so out of practice, I mean, you're pretty much running down and it's a fair catch or it's out of the end zone or whatever. So you get out of you're not intense. You just kind of go.
A veteran would see that though, and the punt protector, the run. What was it, 4th and 3, and the guy who was it, Arizona, 4th and 3, and they got a big first down out of it and they got some points. I don't know if I don't remember if it was a field goal or a touchdown, but that kind of stuff. A veteran presence would have them.
Yeah, it
alerted,
keeps you focused. It keeps you focused.
Mike, how has linebacking changed from the time you were a linebacker in the NFL until the present day?
Well, back then every team had a premier running back. It was ball control, and it still is. I mean, we try to reinvent the game, but it's really about managing the clock. Taking the ball. I mean, they spread the game out. It gets faster. The problem is if you're scoring that quick, like the Kansas City Chiefs, your defense is on the field too long. And so they start to wear down over time. So it's still managing clock, move the chains. And so it was a lot of run. Like back then, it was called a dive play. They call it a zone now. If a dive play gained 30 yards, they would have cut you because you were filling gaps. You were just headbutting guards because it was a big, dominant run game. And they still had the play action pass. You still had the good receivers, but. So you had to be able to meet the force at the line. Now it's speed, it's going to the ball. Our goal, what they taught us is defeat the block. So we had to headbutt the guard. So you have a 300-pound guard, and the only way to stop his feet is to butt him in the face. So we had to butt him in the face, get off the block, and go to the ball. Because the inertia it takes to get that 300-pound body moving, they're never going to come back. But what you see now is guys running to the ball, and the linemen still follow. And at the last minute, you see, boom, they wipe them out, and then the running back cuts up inside and does all that. So they're not doing that anymore. They're just running to the ball, and they're doing more coverage stuff.
Yeah. What do you think of the Cowboys' Micah Parsons?
I think he's a great player. I mean, he can control a game. He's that type of player. I mean, he can cover. He can get to the quarterback. I mean, he's going to be, if he stays healthy again, he's going to be a dominant player.
Does he have Lawrence Taylor qualities?
Lawrence was, I think, bigger and stronger.
But quality. Yeah.
But speed-wise, I mean, Lawrence could just control a game.
See, that's why I get a little upset when I hear people calling him the next Lawrence Taylor. I say, wait a minute. He's in his second year, and he's a very good player, and you can say that he's an all-pro, and you can even stretch it and say he's a guy who could conceively become a Hall of Famer one day.
Oh, sure.
But don't tell me he's the next Lawrence Taylor.
Not yet.
Because there's a long way to go. To my opinion, Lawrence Taylor would qualify or be part of that 2 or 3 person argument as who's the greatest defensive player of all time.
Just ask Ron Jaworski that. Ron Jaworski will tell you.
Oh, my gosh.
We used to have 3 guys to block him. We had 3 guys to block him. He would run past the tackle.
Wow.
He would jump over the back. The backside guard would come. He would run him over.
Clemson has a guy like that. Clemson has a guy, Miles Murphy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but he's not a linebacker.
But wait and see. You're going to call someone the next Lawrence Taylor or call someone the next Reggie White. Let's back off of that.
He's got some Reggie White qualities.
Okay.
That's right. There you go.
That's better. All right. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's Incredible Crab Specials Wednesdays this fall. 2 pounds of snow crab legs for $49.99 or 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays is Chicky and Pete's Go Birds Wing Special. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, get that percentage off your wings on Thursday. Higher score, bigger discount. Plus, our fall specialty menu with the mouth-watering garlic truffle burger and B-Dog Impact Nachos. Enjoy a pumpkin shanty or a smoked apple cider margarita. Chickies and Pete's.
Former Philly Tommy Green, and here's the pitch. More people are online every day to check and pay their bills. Now you can have your BCWSA utility bill delivered electronically. Enrollment couldn't be easier. Just go to bcwsa.net or call 800-222-2068. With electronic billing, you have control to see your bills whenever you want and enjoy the convenience of viewing and printing up to 13 months of your previous bills. Best of all, the service is free. Sign up for e-billing at bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
You never expect to lose a child. My daughter Sarah Mitchell was killed while serving her country during Navy maneuvers in the Red Sea. So many people were supportive, but Frank just showed up on our doorstep right after. He came months after, he came years after. It's been 4 years, and Frank still keeps in touch with us. He's just a normal guy that literally takes care of his community, and that's important.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
Enjoy a world of Italian wine and cuisine in nearby Philadelphia at Grand Cafe L'Aquila. This Italian landmark cafe offers a wide variety of Italian options for both lunch and dinner, and before you leave, try their award-winning gelatos. Offering an online market for your favorite meats, cheeses, coffee, and much more, it's Grand Cafe L'Aquila website at grandcafel'Aquila.com. Call them today at 215-568-5600. That's 215-568-5600. Or visit them at their flagship location at 1716 Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. The world of Italian cuisine is only a 30-minute drive away at Grand Cafe L'Aquila.
Are you looking for a checking account with convenient access and digital tools that can flex to your needs? Then check out Penn Community Bank's Free Checking Plus. With no monthly balance requirement and no monthly service fee, plus all the handy banking services and features you want and need. Early direct deposit? Check. Overdraft grace? Check. Mobile banking and Zelle? Check, check. Visit PennCommunityBank.com/free+ to learn more. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Account and feature terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, for an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
Well, it is time now for this week's Penworth Financial Keys to the Game. The key to your financial future is Penworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit penworth.com. Well, no keys because there's no game.
There's keys to the bye week, though.
What are the keys to the bye week?
Yeah, well, one of them, the one that I have, is stay out of trouble.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's one.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you have another one?
Stay out of trouble. Number two is make sure you're on time when you come. Oh, that's number three. Make sure you get back on time.
Okay.
A week from now.
And what was number two?
I don't know. What was your number? What was number two for you? Yeah.
My number two was enjoy watching a bunch of other people beat themselves up on Sunday afternoon.
Excellent.
And root for Detroit.
Those are some pretty good keys. Yeah.
And number two is well, not right now. Root for the Phillies, which begins in about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Phillies in San Diego. How about the Phillies? That's great. So, Mike, you're still a big Eagles fan, right?
It's funny because everybody asked me that. They say, "Are you an Eagles fan?" I said, "Not since they stopped paying me."
Oh.
No, they, because my sons are big fans, and it's rich with the history of it. You like to see, the games and see how they're doing. So you always stay close to it. It's different. It's because it was a job. It's almost like you're not a fan. You appreciate good players. You watch the game differently. But I don't know if you could say a fan, but I do appreciate what they're doing.
And you do watch them when you have an opportunity.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Or hope listen to them.
I have to. I have to. My
it would be
sons
like if you retired at
I'm not retiring.
WBCB,
No,
but
no.
if you did, you'd probably listen to
I am not
the station
retiring.
once in a while.
That word is not my.
But it wouldn't be the same thing, right?
Okay.
Don't say that. That's a bad word.
Retiring is not in my vocabulary.
This is my last show.
Good. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I want to leave. I want to do this forever because it's what I love to do more than anything else in the world. But I wanted to mention to you, I mean, you were a guy who was an undrafted free agent, and you chose to go with the Eagles. The Eagles have a linebacker right now who, goodness knows why he wasn't drafted, because he's a terrific football player, came out of Wisconsin by the name of T.J. Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think this guy is so good.
Yeah, he's a physical guy. He plays with intensity. He's kind of a little bit of old school. He likes to get up and mix it up a little bit, but he's a good enough athlete to cover the field. And that's when you have those two things going for you, I mean, you're going to make an impact on the defense. So he's going to be one of their guys that's going to fill a position for a while, I would think.
How about Hassan Reddick, who, by the way, is going to be our guest next week at Chickies and Pete's in the Great Northeast.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an impact player. I mean, he fits in nicely with the scheme and puts pressure on from the outside, which frees up the guys inside. I mean, you have to account for him.
He's
and
good.
And it frees up other guys to put pressure on the quarterback.
Jonathan Gannon's done a great job, too, of figuring out how to use him.
Yeah, sure.
It's
really
not
has.
easy. Yeah.
Okay, last week, Bobby, when we pick our games at the end, I am embarrassed to say I was 2-6, and you were 4-4.
I thought it was 8-0.
How about that? Yeah, 4-4. On the season though, I'm 17-7, and you are 13-11.
I was 13-11 last week.
You are. I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
surprised
19-13, and you are 17-15.
I'm surprised you have them all recorded.
Yeah. Now, okay, we're going to pick this.
We're gonna have to go back
never
over
pick
these.
the Eagles.
All right.
Okay, Mike, Detroit at Dallas.
I'm going with Dallas.
Dallas. Bob.
Let me look at the point spread here.
No, we don't do point spreads. Go ahead.
I'll take Detroit.
You're taking Detroit.
Yeah, because Dak
Hey,
might play.
listen, I hope you're
and
right.
If he does, guess
All right.
what?
Giants at Jacksonville.
I'm going to go with the Giants.
Giants. Bobby.
At Jacksonville, huh? I'm taking Jacksonville.
I am too. I think Doug will.
Yeah, he knows.
Doug's lost 2 weeks in a row, and I think he's had enough. And I don't think the Giants are as good.
He'll
as
either
their
win
record.
or get fired.
Okay, Green Bay at Washington.
I'll go with Green Bay.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think I go
Wentz
with.
is out.
I think I go with Liberty and Bethlehem against the Commanders. Okay, the Jets at Denver. That's become interesting.
I'm going with the Jets. They're hitting their stride.
Okay, Bobby.
I think Denver is going to run the ball every play. Denver. I'll go with Denver.
I'm taking Denver.
I think the Jets are full of themselves.
Well, they've gotten some
Ride that
wins.
momentum. Ride the momentum.
Indianapolis at Tennessee.
Whoa.
Bobby.
Oh, I'll take the Titans.
Mike.
I'll go with the Titans as well.
Okay. Here's a good one. Interesting. Kansas City coming off a loss at San Francisco coming off a loss.
Ooh, that's a close, yeah.
I'll go Kansas City.
Bobby?
I'll go with the Chiefs, yeah.
Okay.
3 for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday night, New Orleans at Arizona. Oh, quick. We only have 30 seconds.
I like Arizona.
You like Arizona. And finally, Pittsburgh at Miami Sunday night.
Miami.
Okay. Miami.
You're taking Miami?
Yeah, I'm taking Miami.
I think Tua's going to be
we're,
back.
We're out of time. Mike Reichenbach, it's been great having you with us. Chris Ermer did a great job once again as our producer.
It's been a great run.
Bobby,
yeah.
thank you for contributing everything you contributed, which wasn't much, but we've enjoyed having you. So for all of us, thank you for joining us. Good night, everyone.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.